Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you. When judgment comes for you. Tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you. 'Cause it's gonna come for you.
Nigga, this for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo, but God's got him. And I'm gonna miss everybody out of rolling flows like I ain't looked at a while. Like I'm playing for dust and they play too deep for beachside. Little legs I got too deep. Tell me your feature deceased, would it please? Marry me by my grand, way you can go follow
God bless you, working on a plan to heaven.
Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to the CrosUp, your weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on February the 16th to Collision on February the 21st. We're going to start with Raw. We get the Usos to come out to get things kind of started, but the Vision cut them off before they can even say a word. They kind of just come out and do the little dance, and then the Vision come out to interrupt. Logan Paul brags about selling the most valuable Pokemon card in the world last night for $16 million. Logan Paul then insults the city as well, and Heyman asks for some footage from last week, which saw the Masked Man attack the team and then get chased off. Adam Pearson comes out to say we can go talk about this backstage in his office, but Austin Theory yells about how he was supposed to be the one that qualified for the Elimination Chamber last week. Heyman wants Bronson Reed in the chamber, and Pierce gives him a qualifying match next week. LA Knight then comes out. LA Knight gets to the point by praying that Bronson Reed gets into the chamber so he can kick Reed over and over and over again in his big melon head. After everything Reed put him through, and then Logan kind of cuts him off and says, "You mean the car that he put you through?" LA Knight then kind of makes fun of. He goes, you know, he does kind of that voice. And LA Knight doesn't want them to leave and ask if the Usos would be interested in a 6-man tag, and the match is made official by Adam Pearce. The Vision are then able to defeat the Usos and LA Knight when Reed hits the tsunami on Jimmy. After the match, Logan Paul brags about the win, even taking Michael Cole's headset and talking on the commentary. And as he's doing that, the Masked Man then comes out and stomps Logan Paul on the announce table and kind of leaves him out cold before running away. We even get the kind of the camera shot of when Austin Theory revealed himself as the previous Masked Man. So I thought we might get a reveal here, but obviously I think they're going to play that off as long as possible to make sure that the, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins match can happen, because I think obviously they have a couple of plans in place for this just in case both of those guys aren't healthy by the time, WrestleMania comes around. We then get Adam Pearce. He has shown a giant crate. It says deliver to WWE, but do not open until February 28th, 2026, which is the date of the Elimination Chamber. Pearce's name isn't on it, so he wants it sent to SmackDown. Los Americanos then pop up with the El Grande Americano 2.0 not being happy with the OG one being back, and the OG one is always also in a Elimination Chamber qualifying match. So 2.0 wants Intercontinental title shot, and Adam Pearce gives him a chance to earn a title shot tonight, and that works for the Americanos. Asuka, we didn't get some kind of, lead-in promos to the next Elimination Chamber qualifying match. We get Asuka, Bayley, and Natty all talking about how they're ready to qualify for the Elimination Chamber tonight as they face each other in the match next. But we just get each of them's kind of perspective on what the Elimination Chamber means to them. But Asuka is the one that ends up qualifying. She defeats Natty and Bayley. Almost combined them there. When she gets Bayley to tap to the Asuka lock. Like I said, that qualifies her for the Elimination Chamber. After the match, Natty's kind of going to leave, and Maxine Dupree runs in and beats her down until they're held apart by security. I think Adam Pearce offers Oba Femi a Raw contract, which Femi is intrigued by. He'd like some time to think about it, which is fine with Adam Pearce. As Femi goes to leave, though, Rusev comes in, and they kind of look at each other and kind of have a stare down a little bit. So we then get a sit-down interview with Michael Cole talking to Liv Morgan, and Dominic Mysterio then comes in and joins her for the interview. Liv talks about going to WrestleMania. and not being sure who she's going to choose yet, and she's going to play it out as long as she can. Stephanie Vaquer then comes in. She goes in a long rant in Spanish, and Dom tries to um, translate for Liv as she kind of goes at it. But Vaquer pretty much says that her belt is the only one that matters, and it's the one that matters most to her. Uh, Basically, from what I've seen translated, she basically says that Liv has not earned anything. She's been given everything. She's been afforded the best training grounds and stuff, being in the PC from the beginning of her career. And Vaquer talks about toiling away on the indies for years, traveling all around the world to learn as many styles and stuff like that. So um, I felt like this kind of made, and obviously Dom's again translating this to Liv the whole time, and Liv kind of cries and bails. Um, she starts crying and bails on the interview, and Dom really doesn't say anything to Michael Cole, so Michael didn't get much of an interview out. But I felt like this more made Stephanie come across as a heel. She's not wrong in certain ways, but Liv was there a long time before she started kind of getting shots at the top of the card. Now, did she get signed early on and maybe, got afforded some opportunities that maybe some of these girls that have been on uh, the indies for all these years, maybe they, maybe others didn't get the opportunities that Liv did, but Liv has worked hard and done a lot to get to the point and the position she's in on the card. So I don't know if they're going for maybe a double turn here or something like that, but Stephanie definitely came across as very heelish and kind of talked down to Liv in this entire segment. So I don't know that this came across the way that they wanted it to, but we'll see how they go from here. We then go to CM Punk. He comes out to cut a promo. He says apparently the office is not happy with him right now because he is jeopardizing the main event of WrestleMania. Sports franchises can qualify for the postseason, but it doesn't mean they can skip the regular season games. A few weeks ago, Finn Balor got a world title shot and he lost, but now he has earned another shot with a beating that is going to come with it. Punk wants to be a fighting champion because he is the best in the world. Finn Balor then comes out, but he's not alone. He comes with Dom and the returning JD McDonough. So Punk knows he's probably going to be in trouble, obviously in a 3-on-1 situation. Balor says it's okay, though, because they're not here to fight. Balor talks about training with the best wrestlers around the world to be the best in the world. He showed up on Raw and beat Roman Reigns on his first night, so the best in the world is staring at Punk, and it's obviously not Punk. At Elimination Chamber, he isn't jeopardizing the main event because Finn is going to make it better. Punk then talks about Balor being the best in the world or how he used to be the best. There was no Judgment Day around him when he was wrestling around the world because Balor used to mean something. Judgment Day is dragging Balor down to their level. Mysterio has 2 titles that he never defends, and McDonough's head is so big that he needs help getting in the ring. The fans, of course, then chant bobblehead. Punk says he'll allow that chant. Punk says he's going to do something stupid and turns his back on the team with Balor holding the other 2 back. The Judgment Day don't end up jumping him, and Punk says he doesn't need the 2 of them to prove himself. And then Punk walks away and throws the mic at Balor before leaving. And Balor, obviously, I think wanted to jump Punk there, but he's Punk is effectively doing some mind games with him. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky say they're both ready for their Elimination Chamber qualifying matches and are ready to keep their women's tag team titles on the way to getting there. They want Nia Jax and Lash Legend as well. The Kabuki Warriors come in, though, and Kairi says it's over because Asuka is in the chamber. They'll make sure Rhea and Io don't win, with Asuka yelling how the 2 of them aren't ready for her or the chamber. We then get that Intercontinental title number 1 contenders match when Penta defeats El Grande Americano 2.0, when the OG Grande Americano comes out and provides enough of a distraction for Penta to hit a springboard Canadian destroyer. After the match, Penta and the OG show respect. Penta leaves and the OG beats up 2.0, including a rolling chaos theory. The OG goes for the mask, but Rayo and Bravo Americano save 2.0 to kind of end the segment. We then have Raquel Rodriguez offer to take Liv Morgan somewhere to calm her down for a bit. That leaves JD McDonough to ask Finn Balor what the heck was going on earlier. Dom is pretty much ignored as Balor and McDonough talk about, we should have taken out Punk, and Balor saying that's not how he wants to do things. Uh, McDonough obviously wants to help, but Balor wants to do it on his own. And JD's basically trying to tell him that's a bad idea. Those two both leave, and Mysterio kind of voices that he still has a match tonight and would love to have their help, but obviously they're not too worried about that. We then have AJ Lee come out to cut a promo. She said last week she became the number one contender for the Intercontinental title. Becky Lynch showed her that this is serious business by smashing Lee's face into the ring post. AJ hasn't had a singles match in over 10 years, and things look different back then. There was one pink butterfly title to fight over, and AJ made that title matter by fighting for it. There is a women's division before her, after her, and that is her gift to everyone. She still wants to be the face of the division today, but for now, it's just Becky. AJ gave her a 10-year head start, and Becky still hasn't caught up. For now, AJ is ready to move into WrestleMania with the Intercontinental title. She's ready to give Becky a beating right now, though. So here is Becky coming out. Becky laughs at the idea of AJ winning a title and says it's more about AJ getting the retirement match that she never deserved. AJ's real gift was leaving WWE because Becky has spent 10 years making history while AJ has been making comic books. After Elimination Chamber, AJ can dedicate a new comic book about their fight, and maybe that one will sell. AJ offers her the first swing, but Becky can't bring herself to do it. She knows the game that AJ is playing and leaves, saying she doesn't fight in Memphis. So obviously taking a shot at the hometown crowd. We then get Adam Pearce. He runs into the Vision with Austin Theory, again yelling at Pearce for not dealing with the Masked Man. Paul Heyman wants the Masked Man stopped, but Pearce says the Masked Man is a problem for him as well. Bronson Reed says he's ready to solve the problem for the team. So again, Bronson Reed kind of stepping up to maybe be the leader while Braun is gone. We then get a video on AJ Styles, his career in WWE, all he accomplished, his retirement match, obviously. And we are going to get a special tribute to him next week as they're in Atlanta, which is close enough to his hometown to qualify, I would say. We then get the kind of perspectives from each competitor in the men's Elimination Chamber qualifier. We hear from Gunther, we hear from Javon Evans, and Dom Mysterio. Javon Evans ends up getting the spot. He defeats Dom Mysterio and Gunther when Dragon Lee comes out and takes Gunther out, which allows Evans to finish Dom with the OG cutter, and Javon Evans is in the Elimination Chamber, which is a kind of an upset, I would say. I mean, I think it's probably better that Gunther didn't qualify here, as he's got, obviously the Dragon Lee stuff has been happening ever since AJ got retired by Gunther. But if Gunther's going to lose, if Gunther's not going to win the Elimination Chamber, I don't think he should particularly be in there. But that last match was great. Gunther's awesome. Javon Evans is awesome. Dom played his role really well. So definitely check out that main event if you check out anything from Raw, if you haven't watched it already. We then will go to NXT. We have Kalani Jordan defeating Lola Vice via submission when she was able to crank on Lola's injured hand that she had injured previously until she taps out. She was really just like bending her hand in every which direction. I don't think it had a technical submission name or anything like that, but she does tap. Tony D'Angelo then says he's ready for revenge on Dark State, starting with Cutler James, but he wants Deion Lennox to be watching as he is next. Joe Hendry then tries to jump Ricky Saints as he's coming into the parking lot, but they're held apart before things get too far. We then go to Shiloh Hill. He's ready for Ethan Page and has studied everything he can do to defeat him tonight. Hanging Tank then come in to give him a pep talk, but he honestly thinks he's a little smarter than they are, so he'll stick with his plan instead of whatever they said, and it ends up confusing poor Hanging Tank. We then get Joe Hendry coming out to the arena. He calls out Ricky Saints for a fight. Ricky Saints pops up on the platform to say that he sees right through Hendry. The reality is that Hendry is just a song with nothing else, because we have a meme as an NXT champion. Hendry says he deals in facts, and the facts is that he is the NXT champion. Saint says that Hendry is great at marketing and has nothing to back up his words. Hendry still wants to fight, but Saints issues a challenge for March 7th at NXT Vengeance Day. That works for Hendry, and the match seems to be made. We then have Izzy Dame mocking Tatum Paxley for blaming her for Paxley's faults and is ready to beat every version of her at Vengeance Day. The rest of the culling obviously are still eyeing the tag team titles and say that that's their goal going forward. We then have Tony D'Angelo defeat Cutler James quickly via pinfall with a spinebuster. Beats him in about a minute and a half, I think is all it goes. After the match, Deion Lennox jumps Tony D'Angelo, who he drops with a spear. Cutler James then has to save Lennox's legs from being crushed in between the steps. So Dark State does kind of avoid some devastation there pretty bad. But D'Angelo does get the quick win and does beat up both of them pretty handily. We then get Ethan Page. He talks to the Vanity Project, but Miles Bourne comes in. Page says that there's no way Bourne is getting a title shot, but Bourne thinks he can convince him otherwise. Ricky Saints then comes in to say they will all be champions at Vengeance Day. We then have Swipe Right of Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor defeat Hank a Tank, OTM, and the Culling when Brad Baylor just so happens to fall into a pinfall attempt on Sean Spears after some chaos had ensued. This makes Swipe Right the number one contenders for the tag team titles, and then after the match, Baylor, obviously having fallen into the pinfall, seems stunned that they won. But they then Swipe Right and Jackson Drake, aka the Vanity Project, celebrate to kind of go to the back. We then have a video on Keanu Carver. He says he grew up in Washington, D.C., played college football because he likes violence. No one, including his coach, can control him, though, and now he is here in NXT to hurt anyone who gets in his way. We then have Robert Stone ask Joe Hendry to leave the building, which Hendry complies. Sol Ruca then comes in, but Zarya cuts her off and yells at her and says this is officially the end of their friendship. Obviously, a lot of tension been going on lately. That will quickly not be the case as we go into our next segment. Fatal Influence then comes out. JC Jane says she's actually excited to face Sol Ruca for the women's title next week. She's jealous of Ruca because no matter what JC Jane does, the fans always tell her that Ruca is better. She even beat Stephanie Vaquer for the women's title last year. Then Ruca got Superstar of the Year and represented NXT at John Cena's final match. JC Jane is the most underrated superstar in WWE, and it's not because she can flip a lot. Sol Ruca then comes out who says JC is more envious than anyone else, and winning the title hasn't changed her at all. JC Jane wanted the match, and next week Sol is snatching her soul and her title. They then start to beat down, Fatal Influence starts to beat down Sol Ruca, and of course, having just ended their friendship, Zarya comes out and makes the save. She does kind of hesitate a little bit, but then Zarya and Sol Ruca hug to end the segment. We then have Sean Legacy. He wants Elio LaFleur and Eli Knight he wants them to tear it down in their speed match later on tonight. He says, or they both say, let the best man win. So they're going in with respect. We then get a time limit draw, a 3-minute time limit draw, because our speed matches that aren't for titles only go 3 minutes. They go to a draw, like I said, and Robert Stone comes out to announce that both of them will be getting a shot at Jasper Troy, and it will be a 7-minute time limit as opposed to the usual 5-minute title match in the speed division. So we'll see how that goes. Shiloh Hill then respectfully requests that Miles Bourne stay out of his North American title match tonight and offers Bourne a shot when he wins the title. Bourne appreciates that, but he's not so sure. But he's pretty sure if he has a title match, it'll be against Ethan Page, and doesn't kind of believe that Shiloh will win. They kind of get in each other's face, but it's kind of broken up before anything else can go further. We then get Uriah Connors. He talks to Charlie Dempsey about joining Team Nepo and tries to get him on, like I said, he tries to get him on Lexus King's little Nepo group. Dempsey isn't sure doesn't really give him an answer and leaves, but Uriah seems happy about the conversation. Lexis King, Stax, and Ariana Grayson come in, and they talk about how at the TNA show last weekend, things didn't go so well for Stax, but they kind of rebounded, and Ariana Grace walked out your new TNA Knockouts champion. We then go to Robert Stone. He tells Fallon Henley that he's trying to get her a speed title defense set up, but Blake Monroe comes in to interrupt their conversation. She's upset about Jada Parker, and Jada Parker is apparently out again with a neck injury, so she seems to be pretty injury prone in the grand scheme of things. Stone then puts Monroe in the women's speed tournament to determine Fallon's next contender, and it will be against her old rival, Thea Hale. Dark State then wants to take out Tony D'Angelo and keep their tag team titles from the Vanity Project. Zarya and Sol Ruca then make up in the back. Miles Bourne walks by saying he knows what he's going to do now, telling Zarya and Sol Ruca that, he kind of has an idea of what he can do to make an impact. We then go to the main event, and Ethan Page retains against Shiloh Hill via pinfall when the Vanity Project comes out and provides a good enough distraction where Ethan Page hits 2 twisted grins, one on the floor and then one back in the ring to get the victory and retain his title. After the match, Ethan Page and the Vanity Project beat Shiloh down, but Miles Bourne makes the save. Hill gets back up and he kind of runs off the Vanity Project while Miles continues to hammer on Ethan. Bourne then wraps a chair around Page's ankle and teases Pillmanizing him while demanding a title match. Page says they can do it next week, so Bourne kind of backs off, leaving Page to kind of start running his mouth about Bourne not being ready for that kind of situation. And then Bourne comes back and Pillmanizes Ethan Page's legs. So we'll see if they end up having the title match next week, because I have a feeling Ethan's going to try to get out of it with this injury. So probably a match that'll happen at Vengeance Day, if I had to guess. This will give them a kind of excuse to, cancel the match next week, because obviously his ankle is shattered, quote unquote. But that main event was really good. Shiloh Hill continues to impress. I think, obviously coming out of LFG, it was going to, he's going to have some stumbling blocks and stuff like that. But Ethan Page is a pro. He's a guy that, as long as you bring energy on the other side, he's gonna put you in the right places at the right time. He's really good. He's not going to be anybody that really knocks your socks off in the grand scheme of things, but he's a good mechanic, I would say. So that was definitely match of the night for me. We then go to Dynamite. We open with kind of our, promos back to back to back. We get Mina Shirakawa being excited about the Fatal 4-Way match for the TBS title tonight. Willow Nightingale then knows it's going to be tough, that it is tough to be a double champ, but she wants to be the best women's wrestler alive, and she wants the best woman to win tonight. Megan Bayne also says that she deserves gold and is excited for that 4-way as well. Swerve Strickland needs to beat Kenny Omega. Omega then says Strickland is just in his way of getting to his ultimate goal of being world champion again. Orange Cassidy then announces that he has a replacement partner for his for Roderick Strong tonight, because obviously he's out. He seems to be out with an injury, and it's going to be Tomohiro Ishii. So them two will take on the War Dogs of Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd later on tonight. We then open with Jon Moxley defeating Mark Davis via submission with the Bulldog choke. We then go to after Hangman Page's victory at Collision. He praises Andrade El Idolo's effort and says he was the better man that night, and he is coming for MJF and the World Championship at Revolution. FTR and Stokely Hathaway then come out to complain about the Young Bucks being the number one contenders. The Bucks coined the phrase FTR, and now they're the second best team in AEW's history. Stokely is sick of doing the same thing over and over again, and they hate everyone around here. He insults the Bucks over and over, and here they are to pop up and super kick FTR. Hathaway's still in his wheelchair. He also eats a super kick, and the Bucks says they want their title shot at Revolution. We then go to another promo after Collision. It's Brody King this time. He's obviously pissed that he lost his world title shot. He says he got so close, and losing tonight made him want it more. And on February 25th, he is going to get back into the title hunt. So he's going to make an impact. That's basically what he's trying to say. We then get Willow Nightingale defeating Mina Shirakawa, Marina Shafir, and Megan Bain when she's able to reverse Shirakawa's figure 4 attempt to a small package, and she retains her TBS championship. We then get an overall kind of video on Grand Slam, just the whole night, all the great matches that occurred on that show. So just an overall kind of view of what that show was all about. We then go to commentary. They pay tribute to WWE director Kerwin Silfies. Obviously, Brian Danielson and Tony Schiavone had worked with him at certain points in their career, so they have some nice touching words to offer up to his family and talk about how great a man Kerwin was. We then go to Hangman Page and MJF. They have a face-to-face kind of promo showdown. MJF says he isn't going to cut some cutesy wrestling promo to sell Revolution. The truth is that he hates everything about Page, from his attitude to his wrestling, and he hates the fact that the fans think that Hangman is the main character of AEW. What makes it even worse, though, is that MJF has lost to Page twice. Page is just a lucky shot, and on March 15th, MJF's birthday, MJF is going to prove that he is the best. Hangman then talks about how the fans carried him to 2 world titles, and it says MJF basically stole the belt when he came back and, cashed in his title shot. The reality is Hangman hates MJF far worse than MJF hates him because they're so much alike. MJF's desperation for love and acceptance feels just like Page, and feels like just like Page's desperation to be the champion, and they both always need the fans' reception. He wants to end this at Revolution for good, so it needs to be something different. MJF can think of a stipulation because Page has his own already, and the people can pick. MJF thinks he hears Texas Death, and then he says, shut up, because this is going to be a regular match. Page is willing to sweeten the pot a bit. If he loses, he never challenges for the world title ever again. MJF says that's a deal, but he wants a week to think about his stipulation. That's fine with Hangman, and he wants Texas Death. So Texas Death match is on the table, and Hangman's ability to challenge for the world title is also on the line. So we'll see what kind of other stipulation MJF can add to it. We then get the Death Riders. They still hate the Don Callis family and challenge them to a match on Collision, 6-man. As for Revolution, Moxley wants Takeshita for the Continental title, but this time no time limits, which is kind of against the whole idea of the Continental title, because the Continental title is supposed to have a 20-minute time limit on all defenses. So Moxley just out there breaking rules. We then get Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii defeat Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd when Ishii hits a brainbuster on Connors for the win. We then get the Don Callis family. They beat up a bunch of backstage hands once again and accept the Death Riders challenge for Collision and Revolution. Okada then comes in to say he's here because he's a champion, while Konosuke Takeshita couldn't even show up. Andrade El Idolo comes in to say he wants the world title. And Don Callis wants the CMLL world title for the family as well, so offers a challenge up to Claudio, and Josh Alexander will be the guy that challenges him. We then go to Hook. He wants new members to bring into the Ops. Obviously, Samoa Joe's out, and it's basically just Hook and Shibata at this point because obviously Hobbs went to WWE to be Royce Keys. We then get the Brawling Birds. They defeat Becca and Viva Van when they hit a heart attack on Becca for the win. Renee Young then brings in Chris Statlander, who wants her women's world title back, and Thunder Rosa, who is now back and cleared for an in-ring return. We then go to a match where Kevin Knight defeats Beast Mortos via pinfall with the UFO splash. We then get video of Will Ospreay and his continued build back to his comeback. The Demand then cut a promo wanting the Trios title, says on Collision they'll challenge Jet Set Rodeo. They go to their dressing room, though, where they find a knife in the door, which is obviously a sign from Jack Perry. We then go to Swerve Strickland in our main event, and he defeats Kenny Omega via pinfall following big pressure. After the match, Swerve beats Omega down even more and even hangs him over the top rope with his chain, and then he hits a vertebraker through the announce table to end the show, which was a pretty devastating spot. This is meant to kind of take Kenny out. Kenny has some kind of event that is happening in Japan right around the time of Revolution, so he will not be at the pay-per-view, which is kind of the reason they had this match. They kind of had this match in the first place. So obviously you would have liked to have seen that on pay-per-view, but at least they did a good job of having Swerve do something devastating enough to take him out. And this obviously turns Swerve heel, which will be an interesting way to go going forward, but we'll see what happens. That was absolutely the best match of the show. One of the best matches on TV for the year, for sure. So definitely check that one out. We then go to Impact from there. We open with a long No Surrender recap, kind of recapping all the stuff that happened there. We open with Indy Hartwell defeating Heather by Elegance via pinfall, following the Hurts Donut. We then go to earlier today. Steve Macklin was stopped from getting into the arena. Tom Hannafin then comes out to talk to his friend. Macklin told him to find a way for him to get in next week, with Tom saying he'll do it. We go back to the desk, and Hannafin says TNA management has not responded to that request yet. We then have Mike Santana coming out to cut a promo. He gets to the point saying that if Macklin keeps knocking on death's door, sooner or later it's going to answer. With that out of the way, Santana would like Leon Slater to come out here. Slater comes out with Santana welcoming him back, obviously having had visa issues over the last few months. Slater just returned at No Surrender, and he seems to be back for good now. Santana was worried about someone cashing in on him at No Surrender, but Slater had his back. In addition, Santana wants to apologize for leaving him on his own, and they shake hands. Slater pinned a former world champion in Nick Nemeth, though, which brings both Nemeth brothers out. But Santana tells Ryan to shut up with all of his catchphrases. Nick then calls the win luck, but Santana says it was skill. They then issue a challenge for a tag team match later. Daria Ray then comes out and says the match is not happening right now, but maybe it can happen next week, and then tells them to get the hell out of the ring. We then go back to the system. They warn Moose to move on because they have dropped him for being dead weight, and they have a lot of titles to win, as obviously Eddie Edwards has the Feast or Fired world title briefcase. We then have Frankie Kazarian. He wants to be on commentary for Nemeth versus Slater and Santana next week, and Daria Ray says it works for her. We then have Trey Miguel retain his international championship against Stax when he hits the lightning spiral. He gets the pinfall after that. We then get Eric Young talking to some people, and they are ready to cleanse this place, and he is going to start with Leon Slater, as obviously Eric Young has the X Division briefcase as well. We then go to Jody Threat. She defeats Tessa Blanchard via DQ when Jody is in control, and Victoria Crawford comes in to save her friend and attack Jody. After the match, Blanchard and crew stay on Threat and her bad ribs until Harley Hudson and Milo Rose come out and make the save. We then get Sinner and Saint. They defeat BDE and Rich Swann when they hit total elimination on BDE. After the match, they all shake hands. We then go to Mance Warner and Steph DeLander. They swear vengeance against AJ Francis from No Surrender, and then they go into AJ's locker room where they start to brawl before they get separated by security. We then have the Hardys. They are ready for the system, who come in to interrupt them. The Righteous then come in, and the system bail. With the system gone, the Righteous say that they are going to try and gain the Hardys' trust. Shockingly, of course, the Hardys don't seem too convinced that the Righteous are telling the truth. We then get Elena Black. She is not happy with Mara Sade eliminating her in the number one contender battle royal at No Surrender. She wants an explanation from Sade, who comes out to the stage to say they both came from the same place. They're in the same place again. But Black says Sade has been handed everything before, and Sade says Black hates her for being a go-getter, and they basically offer a challenge and accept it. So they will be facing each other before too long. And then we get our main event in the guitar case casket match, where Elijah is able to defeat Mustafa Ali when he choke slams him into the casket, and that gets him the win. That was a pretty solid match. Mustafa Ali is a really good in-ring performer, so he brought Elijah up to kind of his level, and they had a pretty entertaining little gimmick match there. So definitely, I would check that one out for sure. We'll then go from there to SmackDown. We open with a recap of last week's main event. Cody Rhodes qualifying for the Elimination Chamber despite Drew McIntyre's best efforts. Cody then comes out to get things going. He asks the crowd, what do they want to talk about? But here is Jacob Fatu to cut him off before he can go any further. Fatu says Rhodes wouldn't be out here without him, and Rhodes knows it. Right now, though, Fatu is concerned with Drew McIntyre, and he wants Drew McIntyre out here now. Instead, we get Nick Aldis, who has given McIntyre the night off because he was afraid of something like this. Aldis suggests that they go talk about Fatu getting a shot at Drew McIntyre and tells him to come to his office and they could talk about it. McIntyre then pops up. He's in a suite in the arena and says he bought a ticket to watch the show because he couldn't stay away. McIntyre accuses Fatu of being all bark and no bite, so Fatu kind of tries to charge towards the crowd, but Aldis and security are able to cut him off. Aldis kind of talks Fatu down somehow, and they both leave to go talk in his office. And McIntyre says everyone is jealous of him for being champ. And Cody Rhodes then says the whole world is after you because you're a little bitch, and no other reason. So we then go to Carmelo Hayes. He is warming up when Ilya comes in to give him a pep talk. Hayes seems appreciative and tells Dragunov to use that intensity for his match up next. Dragunov then says he can take care of business tonight, but he's still coming for Carmelo's title. Nick Aldis then tells Jacob Fatu that he has to be patient and he'll get Drew McIntyre. Fatu agrees, but he says he can't be patient for too much longer. So we'll see where that kind of leads. We then get Tama Tonga. He defeats Ilya Dragunov via pinfall when Tongaloa provides a distraction, allowing Tama to hit the cutthroat for the win. After the match, Solo Sikoa says he and his family are coming for everything. So Dragunov jumps him from behind and he gets beat down by the whole crew. Matt Cardona and Apollo Crews then come out to make the save, but are pretty easily beaten down as it's still 5-3. Uncle Howdy then pops up on the screen and says it's time for Sikoa to show he can stand on his own. He wants Solo Sikoa one-on-one, but will Solo show up alone? We then get Nick Aldis. He blames Drew McIntyre for causing chaos around here and threatens him if he does anything else. And then he tells McIntyre to leave, and McIntyre obliges. We then go to Randy Orton. He talks about Cody Rhodes, but he's interrupted by Zelina and Aleister Black. They talk about how there was a time where no one could get this close to Orton because he would lay them out, kind of talking about the punt and how he used to punt people and take them out that way. That's what I felt like they were implying. Aleister Black says, what happened to that man? And Orton says he'll get a match made and Black will see that man still exists within Randy. We then get Lash Legend and Nia Jax. They dub themselves the Irresistible Forces and are ready to go to Chamber as Nia has a qualification match tonight. And next week, they have a women's tag team title shot, so they're ready to win that as well. We then get Jade Cargill coming up to cut a promo. She defends her title on her own time, which is what she did last week against Jordynne Grace. Jade then knows that Liv Morgan is making her WrestleMania decision on Raw in Atlanta, and that's where Cargill resides, so she'll be there in person. Whether it's Liv or anyone in the Chamber, she's still coming out of WrestleMania with her title because she is that bitch. We then get Kiana James. She qualifies for the Elimination Chamber, defeating Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair when she catches Charlotte in a crucifix pin as she's doing the figure eight to Nia and Kiana James. I would have thought either of the other two would have qualified, and Kiana was just out there to eat the pin. But Kiana qualifies for the Elimination Chamber, and she was very good in this match. I thought she really stood out and took very good. She did very good in the opportunity that she was given here. So big performance by Kiana. We then go to Rhea and Io. They are ready to win tonight. Or Rhea is, at least. Io had to sit out for the match that she was supposed to have with Julia. So it's going to be Rhea versus Julia instead. Io is looking forward to qualifying for the Elimination Chamber at Raw. And then they're obviously looking forward to that tag match that I was talking about earlier and the Elimination Chamber next week. So they have a busy schedule. coming up this next week. They have qualifying matches, title matches, and an elimination chamber to get ready for. We then get a segment where Kit Wilson reads some poetry to Obafemi before they have their match. Obviously, he read a poem, and there was a nice one about Obafemi, and then Oba wanted another one read, and the only other one before that was one insulting Oba. So Oba then defeats him very, very quickly via pinfall following a fall from grace. We then get R-Truth. He comes up to Nick Aldis, who is standing in front of the mystery crate, and he thinks it's a prestigious award, maybe even an Elimination Chamber award. Aldis says, send it back to Raw, and leaves. He doesn't leave. He stays there. Damian Priest then comes up to thank Aldis for the qualifying match. But R-Truth says only one of them can go to WrestleMania. Aldis then explains that Priest is the only one in a qualifying match, and R-Truth says he liked Aldis back when he had his balls in his hands or whatever. So just continuing to play on the balls from the John Cena tournament situation. So pretty funny. We then get Tiffany Stratton defeats Alba Fire via pinfall following the prettiest moonsault ever. We then get Cody Rhodes in the backstage. He runs into Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn seems pretty upset. Rhodes tries to give him a pep talk for having nothing to be ashamed of, but Zayn says Rhodes should be the one that's ashamed. He says Rhodes took advantage of things last week. Rhodes says he did because that's what you have to do, and that's why Sami's never been WWE champion. That hits a nerve with Sami, who talks about how everything always works out for Rhodes, that he's the golden boy. He says, speaking of nerves being touched, Rhodes asks where Zayn was in Germany when Jacob Fatu cost Cody his WWE title. The only thing in Zayn's way is Zayn himself, and Cody leaves. Zayn is pissed. He smacks a water bottle across the room. Trick Williams comes in laughing, gets a huge reaction from the crowd. He says he's going to take care of things tonight, which is what Sami Zayn couldn't do last week. Once Trick walks away, Zayn runs to catch up with Cody and apologizes for what he said. Previously, he knows that Cody will be WWE champion again, but don't forget that he had some help along the way to get there, and kind of points at himself. Cody says he won't forget, and they seem to be somewhat on the same page. We then get Trick Williams. He defeats Carmelo Hayes and Damian Priest when he hits multiple trick shots on Damian Priest, and that qualifies Trick for the Elimination Chamber. We then get the tag division around the crate backstage. Johnny Gargano is laying on top of it. Candice LeRae wants Nick Aldis to fix Johnny Gargano, but Jordynne Grace comes in to talk about her future, obviously. Candice doesn't like that she got interrupted. And they kind of bicker back and forth. So Nick Aldis makes a match between the two of them next week. And then Candice hollers at Johnny, who's just continuing to lay on top of the box. We then get B-Fab and Michin. They interrupt Jade Cargill's photo shoot and threaten her. Obviously going to take another squash victory from Jade in that situation. We then get Rhea defeating Julia, but it's via DQ when Nia and Lash come out and attack Rhea. After the match, Lash and Nia continue to jump on Rhea until Io comes out and makes a save. We then get Obafemi. He runs into The Miz, who offers to show Femi the ropes inside and out. That seems to work for Oba, who will go talk to Nick Aldis about it for next week. Miz seems happy because he thinks he has a new kind of mentee to his mentor situation, until he realizes that Oba is going to ask for a match with Miz, and then he gets very upset. We then go to Charlotte. She tries to keep herself calm after her loss, but Alexa says it's okay to be upset. Julia and Kiana James then come in to mock them, but Bliss seems to issue a challenge, maybe a tag match between the four of them. This results in Julia screaming and has to be dragged off by Kiana James. We then get Solo Sikoa. He is ready for Uncle Howdy next week and praises Tama Tonga on his win. For now, though, the team needs to focus on the Wyatts. Solo leaves and Shinsuke Nakamura comes in and says some stuff in Japanese to Tama about Solo Sikoa holding him back, and Tama could survive on his own and maybe even be U.S. champion. And they don't really challenge each other to a match, but it seems like they might have a match again to prove that Tama's can stand alone in the future. So we'll see. And then we go to our main event where Aleister Black defeats Randy Orton via pinfall when Drew McIntyre distracts long enough, allowing Aleister Black to hit the Black Mass. Cody Rhodes had come out to kind of ward off Drew McIntyre, but then Cody runs back in to check on Randy to end the show. So I thought both Elimination Chamber qualifying matches were very good. I would even probably have them even if I had to give them a star rating. But I thought Kiana James's performance in the women's one was really strong. So I'm going to give the edge to that one. But Trick, again, got a huge reaction, and his performance was good as well. But I would give the best match of night award to the women's qualifier. We then go to Collision to end the week. We open with the trios title match where Jet Set Rodeo defeats the Demand when Hangman hits the buckshot lariat on Ricochet. We then have the Rascals. They're in a smoky room when FTR comes in to complain about the smell and the smoke, and they will have a match later tonight. We then get the Young Bucks. They defeat the Squirrel when they hit the BTE trigger on Blake Christian. We look back at the MJF Hangman Page showdown from Dynamite. MJF was at an indie show on earlier, or I think it was Friday night, where according to Tony Schiavone, he defended, he says the Ring of Honor world title, but he meant the AEW world title. Of course, he retained despite some interference from Andrade. After the match, MJF went after Andrade, who said he wanted the title. MJF makes it clear that he's going to beat Hangman Page, and then he'll deal with Andrade. We then get Claudio Castagnoli defeating Josh Alexander via pinfall after he hits the swing and then follows it with the neutralizer. That he retains his CMLL heavyweight title there. We then get Megan Bayne defeating Becca via pinfall, falling the Mega Bomb. We then go to Tommaso Ciampa. He would love to face Mark Briscoe again, but he also wants his TNT title back because he isn't done with Kyle Fletcher. We then get the Don Callis family of Takeshita, El Clon, and Mark Briscoe defeating the Death Riders of Moxley, Yuta, and Pac when Takeshita hits the Raging Fire on Yuta, who was wearing a beanie during the match to not show off his new bald head. After the match, though, Moxley gives Takeshita a paradigm shift to kind of leave him laying, and the Death Riders obviously walk away on top despite losing the match. We then have the Babes of Wrath. They aren't worried about Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford coming for their titles. We then get Thunder Rosa. She defeats Julia Hart via pinfall, following a package pile driver. After the match, Tekla pops up in the crowd to insult Thunder Rosa. AEW is now toxic, and Julia Hart tries to jump Thunder from behind, only for Chris Statlander to make the save. So obviously it seems like the Triangle of Madness and the combination of Thunder Rosa and Chris Statlander will have some issues going forward. We then get Private Party. They say they are having a party in the backstage. They're back, and they say they are glad to be back and are going to make some moves in the tag team division. We then go to Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors. They pop up and say that they want to get rid of Darby Allin and also want to get rid of Orange Cassidy after what he did to them on Wednesday. And then we got our main event where the Rascals defeat FTR when they hit Hot Fire Flame on Harwood. After the match, the Gates of Agony run in to jump the Rascals, and FTR jumps the Bucks family, who had been ringside. Huge beatdown, and FTR ends up even delivering a spike pile driver to the Bucks brother, who had been in ringside for this show. And at the end of the show, FTR and the Gates of Agony stand tall. This actually earns the Rascals a future title shot. It was an eliminator match, so we'll see if they get added to the Revolution match or if it's just, they get the shot after the Bucks. So we'll see what happens there. But as per usual with AEW, they do a really good job with the 6-mans and the multi-man tag matches. So the Don Callis family versus the Death Riders would get match of the night for me, though the main event was also very good. So definitely check those two out if you want to watch something from Collision. So, but that'll wrap up the week. I thank everybody for joining me as always. I'm 9 away from 100, so we'll see what happens when we get there. But thank you everybody for joining me, and we'll see you next week.